What's going on, everybody? So today we got BG Model Works. I've been watching Brian for at least 2 years. I know probably longer than that, but so we're gonna get to meet Brian today. But I'm kind of working with iMovie to do intros, so that spot of my son is gonna be part of the intro. Hopefully, let me know if you guys like that or not. I just trying new stuff, right? But here's Brian. How's it going, Brian?
Hey, Josh, how you doing, buddy?
So how long have you been in the hobby?
The hobby itself, probably since I was 10 years old, and we're going to be coming up on 40 years here, I guess, in the next year. But it's been an on and off deal for me. Started off when I was about 10, just kind of building the odd kit here and there, and then just amassing stuff as things went along. But yeah, starting and stopping. Everybody has that same story. You start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And I started up about 8 years ago and haven't stopped since. And it's just been snowballing since then.
Snowballing. That's a word I like. That's the way to explain it.
We don't have snowballs here, so I love saying it.
Oh, there you go. Now you are down in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
So
in Arizona, yep.
How is the modeling community down there?
It's actually fairly strong. We have, everybody knows Lucas C. He's local to us. There's my good friend James Tester over at Scale Model Experiment, and then there's 3 official clubs down here. A lot of the clubs share members and stuff, but still, it's a pretty strong area. And the local IPMS chapter, they host, in the last 10 years, they've hosted 2 IPMS national conventions down here. So there's a pretty strong group down here for not just cars, but for IPMS, military, aircraft, all that kind of stuff.
No, I mean, it seems like every so often you see there's the really big show in Arizona or Phoenix, I think, right?
Right.
Maybe it's Temple. Or
Tempe.
Tempe.
Tempe, yeah. No, it's usually hosts is Phoenix. Tempe used to have its own, Tempe, and there's also Tucson. Tucson has a pretty good model group down there as well. Hey, what's up, Rizzo? He's my buddy.
Yeah, no, Frizzo's been waiting all week for this interview since I posted.
Has he really?
Yeah.
I was talking to him at Acme, and he came up to me and he was just laughing. He's like, "Somebody confused me for Lucas C." I'm like, "That's awesome."
There you go. No, and then there's Fred here.
What's up, Fred?
No, it's pretty cool how the community has kind of come together. How do you like the YouTube community?
I love the YouTube community. I've never been one that had a lot of friends growing up and everything, and now I've got more friends than I know what to do with. I guess is a nice way of saying that. But yeah, no, I mean, the support. I remember when I was first getting started in the YouTube community, and I don't remember how it started, but it was one of those situations where I was doing a video and I said I broke apart or whatever. Next thing you know, like 3 show up in the mail, and then to pay that forward, I decided to help out people too. That's how Frizzo and I got to know each other. He was doing a 69 Camaro, I think it was, and he needed an engine cross member, and I had a parts kit, so I sent the part off to him, and it just blew him away, that the generosity, So, and he's been paying that forward also, as I understand it. So it's been really cool. Been really cool.
And yeah, I mean, at least for me, it seems like the community really enjoys these interviews and everybody's encouraging, right?
Mm-hmm,
so I know with my channel, it's kind of, I get a lot of views and then I don't. It's just that give and take. Yeah. What are some of the videos that you've noticed that took off, or ones that did?
For me personally?
Yeah.
Well, anything with a big rig or some sort of construction vehicle gets a high watch count. Anything that has to do with Bandai or Gundam, I mean, you're talking like 85 views for a year, type of thing. So That just lets me know where my niche is and who wants to watch what and that kind of a thing. But I've been telling my good friend James and also Lucasy, I've been like, YouTube is a fickle mistress. You don't quite know what she wants, and when something goes well, you just have to pat yourself on the back saying good job. You know,
Yeah.
that's the best advice I can give for anybody who's out there trying to grow their channel. Is it's hard. But I'll go back through my watch list and I'll be like, man, my big rig stuff that, we'll get several thousand views for that stuff. And I love building big rigs. It's just, I just don't have the patience or the time to keep doing. I can do one a year and that's it. I have to take the rest of the year off and recuperate.
Yeah, I think for me, the one that really took off for me is someone asked me about the Harbor Freight, the generic, like, doesn't have any controls. It's just basically the air compressor, the little one. And I told them and they wanted to know what I thought about it. So I did a video on that. And that video literally is my #1 video. Like, it does not stop getting views.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It's reality, right? It's not really hobby related. It's a tool.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, and then like, if you wanted to do another tool review type of thing, people will be like, we're good. You answered the question about the compressor, we're good.
Yeah.
But I mean, no, Harbor Freight is so ubiquitous. I think it's national, isn't it? And the products and stuff there are well known and stuff. I mean, I had a Harbor Freight compressor for decades.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I have is the 21-gallon tank one.
So I never use one with a tank on it, so that's kind of fun.
I tend, Pacific Northwest, right? It's one of those that you got to have the filter, all that stuff to it. So, it's dealing with the environment you're in, because you probably have a different experience being in Arizona.
Yeah, dust is a constant. Our garage faces south, and that's the direction all the dust storms. We call them haboobs here. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on camera, but they're bad, and we're talking like 70, 80 mile an hour winds with just full of dust, and people's cars get sandblasted very easily, type of thing. So our garage faces south. It doesn't seal up that well. So after a dust storm, I'm in there with a leaf blower cleaning it out, type of thing.
Freaking hot.
Okay. Thank you, Luca. I'm wearing his shirt. I'm wearing our shirt today, the Model Car Mafia.
Nice. That's cool.
So I bought a white shirt. Everybody got the black shirt. I don't know what I was doing there.
It's okay to be different.
They said that you get a black shirt once you get made. I'm like, oh crap, what do I got to do? I guess it's an initiation.
So we were talking about tools, and I want to talk about that air compressor, the airbrush thing.
Oh, the Corman's
grab, right?
The Corman's
one. How do you like that?
Well, I just happen to have it right here. And I was actually planning on doing an update video on this guy this coming week because I've been using it a lot more lately. And I actually did a tank for my brother. I did some videos on the tank. And I used this guy specifically for the whole thing. And I really got a good chance to learn how it works and freaking love this thing. And we got it from Spray Gunner. Google Spray Gunner, I guess. But it's a cordless airbrush, and there's ways to modify these guys and everything. But straight out of the box,
what do you mean modify? Wait, back up. What do you mean modify?
Well, there's adapters you can use for this collar down here, so that you can put whatever airbrush you want on top of there. Some guys make their own custom things. Sometimes I think Spray Gunner actually has adapter collars and stuff for different style airbrushes. So if you just want to buy the actual compressor itself and then put your own airbrush on there, I think that's actually possible. You have to check their website for that type of stuff. And I am not affiliated with them, so I'm just going to say that right now. I'm just saying that that's where I got mine. So I did do a lot of research before I bought this one, and this one seemed to be the best one out there.
So my question is, can you change the air pressure on that?
There are actually 2 settings on there on the very bottom of the device. There's a little button, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get that on camera, but that little guy right there. So we're on one setting right now. Okay, we'll hold up to my microphone. And we hit the auto button, and then you can hear there's a definite speed change in the compressor. So it does have 2 different settings. And it is, what do they call that? You can adjust the airflow while it's running. So you can do a nice tight or a larger open spray.
So you're basically able to shoot just about anything, right? Or you
Pretty
limited?
much. The thing is, though, that because it's a small battery operated motor, I do find that you need to thin stuff down a little bit more than you're used to.
Okay. Because it's probably set for what, about 20, 25 PSI, right?
I'm gonna guess about, between 15 to 20. So
No,
I would not shoot a 2K clear through this or anything that's super heavy in the pigment area. But for thin down Tamiya's and Mr. Hobby colors, no problem at all.
No, the reason I asked, and I got that from, and I'll tell everybody to go watch your shop video that you just posted probably in the last week.
Thank you.
And I'll let everybody go check that out because you actually got some pretty cool tools out of your work area. I will say that.
Thank you. Well, budget planning. It's all about budget planning.
So the other one I want to talk about is the wax pencil.
Oh, yes. The wax
pencil. What the heck is that for?
Well, this little dude here, it's actually from the nail art industry. And you can get a pack of these on Amazon, because that river has everything. You can get a pack of these guys for just a couple bucks, and you can see how large it is, right? That's going to last you a lifetime, just one of these guys. And in the nail art industry, it's used for picking up the little itty bitty tiny decals that they put on the fingernails, and then clear coat over those type of things. So I like to use these for picking up transparent pieces, specifically headlight lenses. I used to just use a razor knife and stick it in the lens and stick it in there, but I was noticing that I can actually see the little spot where I'd stab it with the knife. But these guys work great for doing transparent pieces and photo etch. It's a key thing for photo etch too.
Yeah. Okay. What are you using that for photo etch? To hold it together?
No, actually to hold the photo etch piece while you're trying to stick it to your project.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. Sometimes photo etch can pick up a magnetic, depending what it's made out of course, can pick up a magnetic field, and if you're using metal tweezers, it's a pain in the neck to get to have the part let go of the tweezers, I guess is the best way to say that. Not that I use a lot of photo etch because I freaking hate photo etch.
So I've always been a big component of using other parts of like the hardware store for the hobby.
Right.
You have an eyeglass holder that I thought was really, really a unique way to put
this little triangular
on,
thing with this Toblerone shape thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you love how it's black and showing up on a black background? No, yeah, this was one of those things. And I went back to the people I got this from, the eye doctor that I went to, and I asked if they had any more of these cases. And they're like, no, they're specific to that brand, and we don't carry that brand anymore. So I was like, oh, Flex On. It was a Flex On. They don't carry Flex On at my eye doctors anymore. But yeah, I mean, that was super useful for well, let me show you here. I happen to have a car body. So when you're working on a car body and you're doing, like, you want to do the headlight insert, something like that, and you want to have it propped up so you can see it pretty well, do it like that. Gives you a nice little angle. And then doing anything along the side of the car, like putting on the mirrors or whatever, you can just put the car on that little wedge and kind of keep it rotated like that to the side. So my thing is, this is pretty handy as it is, but it would be really easy to replicate this out of a block of wood. If you wanted to just go out into the garage and cut something, I'm not even sure what those angles are going to be, but if you wanted to replicate this in a block of wood and cover it in a piece of felt, that would probably be an awesome thing to do, because it would be a handy little thing for the desk.
Because kind of the side question to that, is there anything else like you have like that you do in the use for the hobby?
Oh God, so one of the things about this hobby that I enjoy is the fact that anything around the household can be used as a tool or an actual product in the process that you're making. I mean, I'm looking around my desk right now. I'm trying to think of something right now, but found things like, I've talked about this before, and this is the cap. This is the cap from a coffee creamer bottle, and it happens to fit these little plastic cups perfectly. So, when you're at the store or you're digging around the fridge, whatever, and you see something like this, we always see them like that, because that's how it's on the coffee creamer bottle. But just turned it upside down and realized that it was solid, would hold color really fine. So I thought it'd be a cool paint cup. And then I realized, no, this would be a great thing for holding the alcohol for cleaning my brushes off. And then hit upon the idea of these little medicine cup things here that you, of course, can get on, the river. But hold those things perfectly for brush cleaning. And that kind of stuff is the type of thing that just makes life so much easier.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I've got the same thing. Like I've modified an air duct thing to put as the air filter in my airbrush station.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the possibilities are endless when it comes to this hobby. And I just noticed a couple things in that video that I just kind of wanted to touch on for ideas, right? Cool. For other people. It's like you don't have to go spend all the modeling tools that we have.
Right. You don't have to spend all the dollars for the modeling stuff. Now, part of the aspect of the hobby for me is the tool thing. I love tools. Tools are fun for me. So that's a part of the collecting aspect of stuff that I kind of like with the hobby. But I'll tell you, I did an experiment a few years ago. It's a failed experiment, but I went to Harbor Freight. I had this awesome coupon deal. Went to Harbor Freight and I bought one of their cabinets for media blasting. One of those big red cabinets with the little hands that go inside and everything. And I thought that would be a great airbrush booth, right? So I took the hopper out of the bottom. I put in a couple of ducting fans. I did all the ducting and everything like that. And then it just wasn't working out well because it was too small, too confined of a space for me to use. So now I use it as a curing cabinet. When I get done doing a clear coat on something, I just open it up, toss in the car on its standstill, close it up, and let it sit in there for a few hours and cure up. But that's out in the garage. I'm planning on doing a video on that also, letting folks know what happened to that project, because I have been getting some questions about that. Like, hey, whatever happened to that media blasting cabinet you have? I'm like, oh, I still got it. It's just not doing the job I wanted it to do.
Well, and I'm, I think we all as guys have we bought, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that. And then it sits in the corner for 10 months.
Right.
Till we get to that one project we bought that for.
Right. Yeah. 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 Well, luckily I am very blessed in the fact that my life partner, Linda, is somebody who's like, this is something you wanted to experiment with. Okay, great. We can afford to do that. We got a coupon, the time's right to do this. Great, cool. And then it didn't work out. And this is where we're really blessed, where Linda's like, hey, it didn't work out, but it led you to another idea, to something else that became successful, rather than, why are you spending so much money on stuff that doesn't work out? That kind of a thing. You got a garage full of stuff that doesn't work. That kind of thing. I'm like, well, I'm a mad inventor and I need to invent madly. So there you go. But she's really awesome about me coming up with an idea, and then she will also partake in the idea department as well. But she'll partake in that, and then she'll let it play out. She does have a cap. She does have a limit. She doesn't just let anything happen. She does have a cap. We were was trying to float the idea of giving back this hobby room to the house so we have more space in the house by building a shop in the backyard. Well, that's when I found out where the limit was. It was right about there.
Yeah, I think we all have been at that particular junction at one point, right?
Right.
So
So
let's
now
jump into
I'm going to
paint.
dig under the house. I'm going to dig under the house and do a basement.
Oh, nice. That'll be cooler in the summertime.
That's my point. That's exactly what it's like. I don't have to air condition it.
So, what kind of paint you using these days? Seems like you got a lot of different options.
I have a few options here. Depends on the project. If it's going to be like one of those quickie 48-hour builds, man, it's all about the Tamiya rattle cans or their paint jars. And if it's something that I want to feel real special about building, I'll use splash paints. I love their paint, and I use their clear coat just about on everything now.
Wait. What's splash paints?
Oh, you don't know splash paints? They're actually based in Oregon, as a matter of fact.
That makes it worse.
I don't know if he'll do pickup deliveries. I don't know. But no, we were introduced to them several years ago. Linda was doing a research on, it was the 2018 Nationals that were being held here in Phoenix. And we were looking at all the vendors and stuff. And she found 2 paint booths that we wanted to stop and talk. One of them was called True Color. I guess they're based locally here. I've never used any of their stuff. And I was hoping to talk to the Scale Finishes guy, but it turned out he didn't make it down here that year. So then we wandered up to this booth for splash paints, and I'm like, okay, I don't know this guy. I don't know anything about him and stuff. Linda had done all the research on him. She's like, oh, this is the splash paints guy. Look at all the different colors he has. So we were checking out the colors and stuff, and I'm talking to the guy about how to use the paint and what do I need to do and all that kind of jazz. And meanwhile, she's like got a little basket thing that he had, and she's just putting paint bottles. And we walked out of there spending like $50 at his table just in paint, you know. And he gave me some contact info. He's like, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm trying to grow my business, that kind of a thing. I'm like, cool, no problem. So, I mean, that weekend I went home and I started messing around with it. I'm like, this stuff is super easy to use. The color was awesome. I had never done clear coat work before. Linda was the one that helped me figure out the clear coat ratios, you know, because here in Arizona, I mean, it's a humid day when we're talking 20% humidity, right? So stuff's going to dry and cure fast. Clear coats don't do their job where they get to run and settle over the entire model. They just flash over right there. You get orange peel and all that kind of stuff. So we figured out the ratio for thinning that down for our specific area. And then that's where that drying cabinet comes in handy, because you need to let it set for a while, harden up, you know, type of thing. But yeah, if you're interested in it, I could send you a link to his shop, because he does mostly like European modern cars. He's got some classic American cars, not like Scale Finishes has, but I've never had a problem with his product, and I've been using it for a couple of years now. And that's the paint I go to when I want to do something extra primo, special, nice type of thing, you know.
So is it rattle can or airbrush?
No, it's actually airbrush. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Me and rattle cans don't get along. So
two completely different painting styles. Both you can get beautiful finishes out of. It does take work and time to master either one. And there are times when I've been rattle canning so much, I'll fill up the airbrush, and then before I go to do a pass, I'm like, you know, oh, I just painted the wall. You know, if you see my garage
I've done that.
If you see my garage floor, there's paint all over the floor, because Linda will come home from work. She goes, "Oh, did you make an offering to the painting gods by spilling some paint on the garage floor again?" I'm like, "Yes, I did."
Or if it's red, it looks like a murder scene.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. I think we've all done that at some point.
Yeah. No fooling, man. But no, I've always been either rattle can or something that's designed for airbrushing, but I've never really gotten into the whole taking a small jar of Tamiya paint and then making that my base coat for a car body or something like that. I've only done that a couple of times. I've liked the results. I'm just not comfortable with doing that all the time yet.
No, I think for me, I usually Stynal Res, right? I love that stuff because it's like, I mean, you got to be pretty dumb if you can't get Stynal Res to work. Because I mean, you can brush it on and you can airbrush it. That's how simple that stuff is.
That's cool.
But and then after that, it's like if I want to do a car body, it's Wicked. You know.
Oh, I'm familiar with the Wicked stuff. Yeah, I've seen them at the stores, but I've never really, I don't know, never really got into it because they themselves have their whole system, and I'm like, I'm not sure what can cross over to what and that kind of a thing, you know. So
I'm not gonna lie, I've messed up a couple models messing that up. It is a challenge, but you know, it's not. I've known a couple of the people that have used the product, so I've been able to bounce ideas off and
That's
have
cool.
been able to get the Wicked to work. But
That's cool.
yeah, I love the Wicked stuff. It's extremely awesome because the last couple cars, or I did the Batwing, that's the blue Wicked, and then the NASCAR I'm doing now was in the
Lowe's NASCAR. That thing's looking really good, by the way.
Thanks. I'm working on it. I haven't messed it up yet. It's not perfect by any means, but I'm getting it to work.
But it's all about the decals.
Yeah.
Decals can hide a lot of crimes.
I see. I'm not good at decals. It's like, and I think some of it I use the Microset stuff.
Right.
Which it's good. It's good. Yeah. But I want to try, I think it's UMP. They have 3 different like softeners for the decals and stuff. Like they really, Colin, when he was on, was telling me all about it. And once I get this stuff out of my house, or use it all up, I'm gonna look into getting that, I think.
Cool. I switched over to I use the Microsol stuff also. It's weird because like if I'm doing a Hasegawa kit, I probably said that completely wrong, but if I'm doing a Hasegawa kit, it seems like their decals are resistant to the Microset stuff. So I switched over to using the Mark Fit from Tamiya.
Oh, how's that?
It seems to work pretty well for the Hasegawa and Tamiya decals, but anything that's domestic, the Microset stuff uses. Oh, cool.
Yeah, that stuff. That's that. Yeah, like I said, he's in the chat. So
all right.
Yeah, that stuff. I want to try that next. I've heard good things about it, but
so where do you get the UMP stuff at?
Well, first I'm going to call Brett Marquardt from High Altitude Hobbies and see if he has it, and then if not, I'll have to call Paul over at ISM. What is that?
Red Dragon. I've heard of the Walters stuff, but I've never actually seen it in stores. I've heard that stuff was like at train shops and stuff.
Oh yeah, maybe. Oh, maybe my hobby shop will have that then. Maybe.
Okay. Do you ever get up to Tammy's?
Tammy. Oh, that's up in Portland. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. A good buddy of mine lives like 10 minutes from there, and we're like, let's go to Tammy's. Whatever I'm in town.
Who's the guy you know in Portland?
His name is Chris Bennett, and he was the president of the OHMS modeling club up there for a couple of years. And when I moved up to Oregon, I was getting back into model building again, and the person that I was with at the time was like, you need to get out of the house. Just go do something, get out of the house type of thing. So I found the model club and I joined up that night because the guys there were just so cool. They were so great. I really enjoyed the meetings. We only did them monthly, But that first night I met Chris and a couple other guys, and they've been lifelong friends ever since then. And every time I get up to Oregon, I do hang out with those guys still.
Yeah, next time you get up here, you'll have to hit me up, dude.
Well, we're trying to get up there in March, so yeah.
Yeah.
So,
if you're up here, hit me up, dude.
I was telling my buddy Joe, Mad Genius, about this yesterday, that all the cars I've built and all the videos about building cars I have done over the last few years, I got hit up for a commission build, and it's for a tank.
I
was like, awesome. That's the way to go right there. So I suppose if I did a lot of tanks, I'd probably get hit up for a car, I guess. I don't know.
So what are you working on now? You're working on a car, I believe, right?
I am working on a car. I'm also working on Christmas cards for family and friends, and that's taking up most of my time right now because I hand draw those. But I got a fortune and a fortune cookie the other day that made me think of this kit. The fortune says, now is a good time to finish up old tasks. So I'm like, oh, I better pull out that Subaru kit. So yeah, I'm working on this guy here, this WX. And I started that, I think I started it in February last year, but I finally got the body all nice and done. Where we want to go.
Oh, wow. Here you go. That's cool.
I can't find my webcam. There it is. So I did a Splash Paints 2K clear over the top of some Tamiya rattle can. And then I just put on the black. You see it along the bottom here. And that's because thank you, Luca. But I put that black along the bottom there because I actually burned through the paint when I was polishing it. So I finally got that sorted out, and then I was really happy to get going on that because it's 95% done. And then I'm also working on this guy here for a group that we have going on. It's the I can never remember the name of the group because somebody came up with a name that was just too hard to remember, but it almost spells "you suck," I think.
You said what? I'm on that page. I don't remember that.
I know, right? It's copywritten. You can't use it. But I'm doing the 40 Ford, and I have until January 15th to finish that off, so I'm taking a little break from that right now. Hi, Luca. Like we haven't been texting all day anyways. And he spelled my name wrong, too, by the way. I think he does that just to annoy me.
That's really cool. And, you know, that group build seems to be getting some traction across YouTube, I've noticed. It seems like there's a bunch of people starting it.
Yeah.
I think Fred's almost done with his.
Yeah, I think he's the last guy to start, and he's going to be the first guy to finish. I think that's a Fred thing.
Yeah, I have no idea. Probably.
Well, I think it's because Fred does the thing where he likes to let you think he's behind the curve on things, but all the while he's been building it in his head, and all he has to do is implement it into the styrene.
Oh,
and I think that's his key. If I'm wrong, I'm making him sound good. If I'm right, then I'm giving away the secrets.
Yep. That's funny.
I got to hang out with Fred at Acme, and he's one of my most favorite people in the whole world. So,
how do you like Acme? Being someone from the West Coast.
What's that?
How do you like Acme from someone being on the West Coast?
Well, I freaking love it. Getting there's a pain in the neck, especially if you're carrying models. You know, it's a 3.5 hour flight to get out there from where we're at. And so we've only been twice. The first time we flew out that Friday when they had the meet and greet and stuff. So we were actually late to that because of how long it took to get a rental car and all that other jazz. And then, look, just dropped an update video. Sure. It's in my watch list, man. But yeah, we flew out there and then getting the rental car and picking up stuff at the baggage claim and all that stuff. We left here, I think, about 7 o'clock in the morning. We didn't get in until like 3 p.m. their time. With the to the airport and everything. It was just a big hassle. We got to the meet and greet late. We hadn't even checked into our hotel yet, type of thing. So this year we're like, you know what? We're going to do it right. We're going to go in the day before, just have a travel day, get dinner, leisurely, make it a leisurely day and all that kind of stuff. We were traveling with a good friend of ours, and we all stayed at the host hotel. So it was really nice to just walk down the hallway and go hang out with folks for a while. And then just head back to the room, that kind of a thing. But yeah, I really suggest if you're going to go to Acme and you have to fly down there, do it the day before, take an extra day, do it the day before. So you're well rested for that Friday and then even more rested for that Saturday of the show. And that show was bloody amazing. It was a lot of fun, especially having been there before. Now, our friend Luca had gone there for the first time. He had the big swirly marks over his eyes the whole time because he was just trying to take everything in. I'm like, that's how I was when I went there the first time. So going back for a second time, we knew the process. We knew what was going on. We knew what to expect. And it was a lot more relaxing for us, for me specifically, because the being overwhelmed wasn't an issue this time.
No, I mean... It seems like that's one of the bigger shows in the U.S.
I believe you're right.
I like the one like Phoenix, Acme, Nationals, right? IPMS Nationals,
right?
And then I'll link figure painting into this. You got Adepticon, Gen Con. I want to say there's a car show in Jersey.
Well, there's also Sci-Fi Wonderfest too.
Yeah, that's it, like there's like just a small group of like shows that you can travel to that are really interesting to go to. And
no, I agree. The NNL shows seem like they're bigger nowadays than the IPMS shows, if that makes sense. The NNL shows are the People's Choice shows where people, the average folk come in and they vote on the best car there and everything. We want to host something like that here. We've been talking about that loosely. The judging aspect. I've been NNL East. That's right. NNL East is, I think it's up in New Jersey, and it's a heck of a show. I understand, and I've heard of MosquitoCon. I haven't been there yet. I'm not looking forward to going to a place that's named after mosquitoes because I do not like them. Because apparently my blood is like candy for them. So, but there's so many shows that we want to go to. I mean, I went to NNL West out in California in Santa Clara. I grew up in Fremont, which is just 10 or 15 miles north of Santa Clara. I lived there for 30 years. And I never knew that show was there until I moved down to Arizona, met and befriended my friend John. And he goes, oh, yeah, I want to go up to NNL West up in California. I'm like, oh, where's that? Over in Orange County someplace? He goes, no, it's in Santa Clara. I'm like, well, is that new? He goes, no, it's been going on for like 40 years, something like that. I'm like, really?
No, and
really?
That's kind of the point. Is the modeling community, like, there's 10 people probably in my town that model, and we all don't know each other.
Yeah.
It's just a weird dynamic in this hobby.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's weird. But when you do run into people that it can be a lot of fun. We went to a swap meet yesterday, and we walked in the door, and literally, we walked in the door. Linda goes like this. She holds out her hand. So I hand her my camera phone just to go film the show. And I go like 2 steps into the venue to start actually looking at buying stuff. I wanted to check out some stuff. And the gentleman walks up to me. He goes, Mr. BG. And I turn and I said, hi, how are you doing? He goes, you don't know me. You don't know me, but that's okay. I watch your show. I love it. Hey, what's going on, Brian? And then have you gone? Hey, Brian, have you gone to the lighting of the Christmas tree in Chandler this year? Because that's a lot of fun. Chandler has a pile of tumbleweeds they paint white and put Christmas lights on, and that's their tree.
That's funny.
I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah, so I walk in there. I'm talking to this guy. We start talking about models and model building and stuff. And next thing I know, I find out, he's kind of local. He's like a couple cities down from us. And we're inviting him to come up to a build night now and everything. Linda came over and started talking to him. She actually interviewed him on the fly about what he bought at the show. And it was a lot of fun. And then, so I'm like, okay, now we can go on shopping. And then a few, what's up, Woody? Head down the aisle and bump into a couple more people that want to talk to us. So I'm like, this is really cool. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I've been to the Oregon IPMS show up in Portland.
Yeah, that was the guys I was part of.
And yeah, it's
when it was
usually I find out about that show the weekend after it happened. That's how.
We had a little trouble advertising. That was the one that used to be in McMinnville in the Aircraft Museum.
Yeah, they moved it to the Armory in McMinnville. No,
did they really? Well,
they moved it to it's a really big building.
They lost support with the Air Museum because their liaison took a job someplace else and left. He was the curator for the museum. He went down to Texas for a better job offer down in Texas, and then so we lost our in there, and we couldn't negotiate a deal that was happy for everybody all the way around. So we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I know that they stopped using that venue. But I always loved the fact that we were having model tanks, model airplanes, model cars on tables underneath the wing of the Spruce Goose. The whole thing fit underneath the wing of the Spruce Goose. And that was
to be honest, it is a building by itself.
It is. It's a flying building. I was lucky enough to get a cockpit tour of that thing once, and that was astounding. I got to sit in Howard Hughes's chair and everything, and I got a couple of pictures taken of me. It was amazing.
So, one of the other things I wanted to bring up, and I want you to show this. I want you to talk about the Megatron build that you just finished.
Okay.
How did you like those kits from Hobby Lobby? Because are they like Gundams or
they are very much like the Bandai Gundams. The engineering aspect of them is right on par. They do the plastic does seem to have a different feel to it. So I don't know if there's a different plastic formula they're using or whatever. It does seem to be a teensy bit more brittle than the Gundam stuff, but everything's molded in color. They don't do the you know how Bandai Gundams will do the multiple colors on one sprue type of thing. They do some sort of wizardry with their casting that does that. These guys don't do that. I think they're Flame Toys. They don't get that tricky with their stuff, but they do have everything molded in color. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. But I do have Megatron right here, and let's see if we can get a light on him. We didn't do any paint on Megatron at all. We just did a wash over him to bring out some of the detail, and then just a little bit of battle damage here and there. But basically, he's straight out of the box. And I do think that the quality of these things rival what Bandai is doing right now. And I would recommend them, especially when they're on sale, because they are a little pricey. But we went over his cannon with some Ushi powder. Boy, I'm using Mad Genius's lighting here today. But yeah, Ushi powder on the metallic pits and stuff like that really helps bring all that stuff out. Definitely not a toy. It is definitely something that goes into the curio cabinet. But Yeah, I freaking love him. I've done him and Optimus Prime, and I have 3 more. I think I have Ultra Magnus, Starscream, and Bumblebee still sitting in the wings.
Oh, I didn't know they had an Ultra Magnus. I didn't know the Bumblebee and the other one, but
Ultra Magnus is the rare one. That was actually a Christmas gift from Mrs. BG. I'm not sure where she found it. She said she got it on Amazon, but I haven't seen it there before. So I'm not sure what kind of alchemy she came up with, but she found it and gave it to us as a Christmas present last year, I think.
nice. No, that's cool.
If you want something, contact Linda. She'll find it.
Nice. The other group. What's the other thing you have on your desk? You said the egg. This is the thing I know you from.
Oh,
that's how I found your channel. Was the egg
right? So
thing that you were going to show.
Every year, a couple of good friends of mine host the Eggplane group build, and it has to be strictly Hasegawa. I probably said that wrong, but it has to be strictly a Hasegawa kit, and everything is egg shaped. Nothing is to scale, which is completely fine. Decals can be a challenge because for some reason the Hasegawa kits, they have decals that are like, I don't know, as thick as paper almost. But let's see. This last year, we did this this little guy here. This is a P38. No, what is this? No, it's not a P38. I don't remember what this is. It's the jug. I remember this as being a jug. And cool. This guy here, the rubber band broke, but we had done some engineering on the bottom here so that when you turn the wheels, this little crank rolls, and it would make the propeller turn, but the rubber band just broke just now. So I like doing that kind of stuff. But the one that I first started with, the first one I ever did was this guy. Ooh, P47. Thank you, Joe. This guy here, this is the plain egg and stuff. And this one was a lot of fun for me because we had to figure out how to cut open this guy in a way where we weren't going to cut ourselves up. So we actually took a coping saw and wrapped a string around the coping saw, took out the blade, of course, put a string in there, got it nice and tight, and then just did a zigzag cut all down that guy. Everything on that you see on there is done by that string saw. And that worked out really, really well. And then for the egg itself, this is simply tulip glue. I shouldn't say glue. It's tulip fabric paint, which is for like doing designs and stuff on clothes, t-shirts, stuff like that. And then the actual yolk, that's it does look like an awesome breakfast, isn't it? It's low calorie, that's for sure. But that's actually a googly eye that you would like stick on a doll or something like that, and just painted it in, if I can remember correctly, TS34 camel yellow, which is one of my favorite colors from Tamiya. And then the bacon was made out of epoxy putty. Thank you, Fred. The bacon's actually made out of epoxy putty, and I actually had to look up Google Images on how bacon looks so I could. I tried to make some bacon. I kept eating it, but we tried to match the color scheme there, and then did a future floor wax over the top of it to make it look nice and runny. And then the frying pan, we got that at a local junk shop. And the lady that was selling, the old lady that was selling me the pan, she's like, "Oh, you're gonna go home and make some Vegetas?" I'm like, "From what?" She's like, "Vegetas." I'm like, "Actually, no, this is gonna be a prop for a YouTube program." She goes, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Yes, I'm gonna make some Vegetas." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Enjoy your meal," type of thing. I'm like, "Thanks, ma'am." But I took that up to Vegas for the IPMS Nationals as a last second thing. My good friend John was like, "You really need to take that. That's gonna garner some attention and stuff." And it ended up winning first place for humor. And that's when my friend James Duff told me, he's like, "You are now officially the funniest guy in IPMS for the next following year." And I'm like, "I'll take that."
Nice. No, that's a really cool build at the end of the day. And a cool group build for YouTube too.
It sure is, because there's a lot of different egg type of shaped items. I believe there's tanks. I know that there's kind of weird looking boats and stuff too, but mostly planes and helicopters.
I
Um,
I think between that one and the one that Papa Dan did where it was coming out the picture frame in the
oh,
clouds,
that
those
one
are
was
the best
awesome.
two I've seen.
That one was awesome. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
they also do a couple. Let's see. So that's I think that's Munchkin Modeling Man and Charlie Mack. They host the Eggplane one, and then Munchkin Modeling Man and then Papa Dan do the Ming build, or I guess they call it the deformed cartoon build thing now. And that's where you use it's open to all genres that have weird looking stuff, odd looking things. So that's kind of a fun one to do too. And what I like about doing that type of build is it lets my creativity just flow. I mean, I'm not going to do that to the Subaru. I'm not going to have
Well, you
bacon in the Subaru.
could.
I could have a plate of food in the passenger seat of the Subaru, but or maybe a box of noodles.
No, it's a really cool build, and like we were talking about before, that was a really cool build.
Thank you.
Was there anything else you were going to show? I don't remember. I know you grabbed a couple things. I don't remember what the other thing was.
Well, I think we pretty much got it all covered.
So now I want to talk about your wife for a minute because she's in the hobby, right?
Yeah. What did you hear?
No, I just think it's cool how you two have got the dynamic. Like she even does the stash update, right?
Yeah, she does the stash updates. It's a lot of fun. I actually got kind of known for having her do stuff early on with the channel. A long time ago, I was at a build session at a friend's house, and this guy whom I didn't really know well at the time comes in and sits down. And he starts opening up what he's going to work on, and then he turns to the other guys. He goes, "So there's another YouTube guy in the valley here," and everybody at the table goes, "Yeah, okay." And he goes, "And get this, he gets his wife to do his stash reports for him." And the other guy's like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. She said she actually talks about she knows what she's talking about and stuff." He's like, "It's really cool. You guys got to check it out. It's called BG Model Workshop." And I turned to the guy. I'm like, "That's me," because I was never on camera then. And he's like, "No, whatever." And I held up my building mat where I had my logo taped to my building mat because it was the one I was using for on camera stuff. And he goes, "You're that guy." So then we became friends and stuff, and then he's so knowledgeable about things. A lot of times I actually ask questions about him from him to get stuff. But from that point on, I went home and I told Linda about that evening, and she was just laughing. She's like, "That is so funny that your channel is known for what I do for your channel," type of thing. And we're like, "Well, let's just keep it going, just keep it going." She has a lot of fun doing it. I enjoy the heck out of watching it because I always stand right over there, in the corner when she's filming. And there'll be times when I'm like, "No, you can't say that." Cut. Can't say that. Let's start over again. That kind of a thing. But one of my favorite times is she wanted to do a stash update, but she wasn't feeling so great. So she sits down and she starts working. She turns on the camera. She goes, "Hey, everybody, this is Mrs. BG. We're going to be doing a stash update." And she went through the whole thing. And then when we got done, she was like, "How was that?" I'm like, "You made me want to kill myself." And she's like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah. Can we do it again with a little more energy this time?" She's like, "Well, okay." So she turns on the camera again, and then she's all perky and bright and stuff. And then for the rest of the day, she had really good positive energy and everything. So it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I enjoy working with her on things. Yes, that's right. That's right, Fred. I enjoy working with her on things. She has awesome input about stuff because she's actually involved in what's going on. Most of this stash that's behind me is stuff that she's picked out at shows. I swear, that's the truth. I did most of the shopping at this last swap meet that we went to yesterday, and it's all Ravel stuff. Everything back here that's Tamiya, Hasegawa, all that kind of stuff. It's all stuff she's picked out. Yes, it is. It is. It is. And when you have that person that's in your corner, helping you, not necessarily helping you out, but just supporting what you're doing, and being a positive influence on that stuff, it makes everything just that much easier, that much more special. So
No,
she's actually gotten into filming at the shows now. She's got a camera all set up and everything. And we didn't take it yesterday because we weren't sure what kind of filming type of situation we're going to be in, because it was a very small area. So she just used my camera phone. But I mean, at the Acme, she disappeared for an hour while she went off filming stuff. I was just hanging out with the guys and, perusing the tables and stuff. But yeah, I feel very blessed to have somebody like that in my corner.
No, I think it's unique that, you've gotten that dynamic on your channel now.
Thank you.
At least the last couple stash videos I watched.
Yeah, well, she's been a part of it. She was the one that actually suggested I start a channel way back in the day. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And she goes, well, it couldn't hurt, because I was working from home and I had free time between clients and stuff. So I thought, well, yeah, I could film a quick video and just throw it up on YouTube. And if somebody wants to watch it, somebody can watch it, that type of thing. And I would never say like and subscribe and stuff like that in my videos. She would. She's the one that goes, remember to pound that like button. And I'm in the corner going, really? Yes, that's right, man. She's the real deal. Yeah. So, I mean, she'll sit down and talk model cars with the best of them. She'll swap. She built a Lamborghini. We took that to NNL West. She puts it on the table. I put out what I brought. 20 minutes later, she's being asked if she can bring her car up to have photographs taken for the magazines and stuff.
No, that's really, really cool. It's really a unique dynamic that you guys have, and I really, really see how that's taken off for you too. Like,
no, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I wish she could do more, especially building wise, but she just doesn't have the time right now.
No, I get it. Now, does she build the cars too?
She built a Lamborghini Diablo and used splash paints and did the 2K clear and all that stuff. And she started a Subaru 360. If you're not familiar with what those are, you'll have to look that up. And then she started a 67 Riviera. And it was so funny because she's sitting there with this AMT Riviera kit and she's looking at it. She goes, I'm going to murder this bastard out. I'm like, okay. She wanted to strip the chrome and everything and just do a dark gunmetal color on it and everything and just murder that guy out. And she ended up losing a grandmother at that time. And then ever since then, she really hasn't been back to the bench since. She's like, it would be, she got into knitting. So now we have so many nieces and nephews and stuff like that. She's been knitting hats and baby blankets and stuff like that for all of our families. But she does enjoy the building aspect of things. And when I show her something, I'm like, hey, look, I'm working on this type of thing. She'll actually have some input. She's like, well, why don't you try doing this technique? Or why don't you try doing that technique? Or that kind of a thing. She is definitely one of the crew. That's right. I just carry the stuff.
That's cool.
Well, thank you very much, Brian.
That's cool. So what I wanted to end it with, and this is where I think we're kind of similar, is talk about art for you.
Art? You mean my doodles?
I've noticed the Bob Ross sticker on one of your projects for a long time now.
Oh, yeah? Bob Ross? Well, yeah. I don't really do much artwork other than the Brian Lindy comics I post on Facebook and Instagram. I do I do have a happy accident decal here from Bob Ross, where it's kind of a mantra where everything is fixable. It used to be my mantra way back in the day. But I do Christmas cards, and here's one that we're going to be sending out this year here, and they are based on me and Linda. Those little stories and stuff that happen. 50% of it is true. We'll get a better close up there. So 50% of it is true. 90% isn't. But yeah, as far as artwork goes, I don't do much artworking anymore. It's very hard. It's hard for me to sit down and focus on what I need to do. Model building is a lot different for me. It's a 3D object. I know how to paint that, but if it comes down to sitting down and just creating something, I'm not able to just do that out of thin air sometimes.
No, I mean, like I've kind of noticed that a little bit over the time I've watched your video, that you have like art stickers, and then there's I know for me, I was trying to draw comic books from like 10 to like 40
comic books. Man, I love my comic books, and I learned how to draw from comic books.
Yeah.
But the problem is that because I learned how to draw from comic books, when they draw stuff for comic books, it's really good sized, right? But and there he goes, folks. I mean, when I was in high school, I did some artwork. I used to love the comic book series G.I. Joe. Yeah, it sounds corny, I know, but I've always been a G.I. Joe fan. And Snake Eyes was my guy and all that kind of stuff. And I just love drawing Snake Eyes because he didn't have a face. You didn't have to worry about the nose and how the eyes were symmetrical. He always had a mask on. But it was really easy to draw. But yeah, I mean, in the last few years, just working on models and doing YouTube and stuff has really taken my time away from doing that kind of stuff. I do miss it, and I want to get back to it.
Yeah, my son here, my son just turned. There's been 8 or he'll be 9. He'll be 9 in January. So he's in that age group where he's starting to pick up the art aspect, and so we've been having a lot of fun with it. But this was probably the last thing I drew.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, right. I just unique, dynamic stuff, right?
Right. And
that's, some of the stuff that I come up with, it's off the wall. Like, I mean, that I put that up for the like when you click on Fred, the car comes up. Well, now that picture is on my circle.
That's pretty cool. I am thinking about redoing my shop card and this is just like a quick sketch of what I'm thinking of.
Whoa.
But it says BG Model Workshop, and down below it says it's all about the finesse. We're going to get the wording redone and everything, but we're going to keep that image type of thing. And I'm like, that would be that shop card kind of fits what goes on here a lot better.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, Storm Shadow was pretty awesome, Joe. He's he's pretty cool. I actually have, it's off camera, it's over there. I have the Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes swords that were given to me by my brother for my birthday several years ago because we were both G.I. Joe fans. And we refer to ourselves as sword brothers now.
That's funny.
And they are real, don't mess with me swords,
Cool. So we've hit that about hour mark. Didn't really, I don't, let me see out of my notes here. I didn't think I had anything else. Let me check real quick. No, I had all the questions that I had. Do you have any questions for me since we've hit this part of the show?
Well, how are you doing with your 3D printing?
So like, I mean, I've been doing the figure. Oh, it's not on me. Hello, dummy.
Hey, welcome back.
I mean, the filament stuff I've pretty much figured out.
Okay. Is that
I
a
mean,
filament
you
one?
you can't get much better than what I'm. Well, you probably can with some of the better settings, but I'm starting. Like I got a resin printer this last year, and I'm kind of learning how to do that. I've got resin on the way, so hopefully the right stuff gets here now. And then supposedly I'm getting a wash cure station in the mail in the next couple days too. But
Sweet. That makes life.
that's kind of where I'm at.
I would love to get into resin printing. We were just talking about that on our YouTube channel, Model Car Guys on YouTube. Me and Luca, we're kind of fielding that question about where resin and 3D printing and all that kind of stuff is going for the model car industry. And I'm like, I've always felt that at one point we will reach a point where you can either buy the model on the shelf, or you can go to the website and download that particular model and print it yourself with whatever modifications you want to do. And I would welcome that, because that seems like it would be kind of a fun thing to do. Now, there's a large majority of us that still want to actually have the tactile build it, scratch build, whatever you want to do on top of that. And I feel that is a legit art form in its own right. But being able to, from my understanding with 3D printing, taking something, maybe it's not going to fit on your printer because your printer is too small, learning how to slice that file so you can slice that object and print it into 2 or 3 pieces or whatever you need, and figuring out the orientation and all that kind of stuff, that in itself is another form of art, I think. Even though you're pushing buttons and running your mouse, it's a different level of artwork. And something that escapes me right now. I wish I had that kind of talent and background, but I would love to do 3D printing, because the ideas I come up with of things I would want to have. Yeah, exactly. Another dang rabbit hole. Exactly. One hobby at a time. That's the rule in the house. The second rule in the house is he who builds the model sweeps the floors, because you're going to lose parts.
See, and here's my perspective on it. I see the like Revell, Tamiya, well, maybe not Tamiya, but some of the modeling companies that aren't doing very well. I think if they went into the SDL format, so they didn't have to produce the boxes, they'd be around a long time, because then you wouldn't have the overhead. Right. You would just have to pay the guy to make the file.
Right. And then if you want to look at it on an ecological sense, when you build a model, there is a lot of plastic that gets thrown away. Now, some places you can recycle that. Remember in Portland, the recycling, there was a recycling place that actually took old plastic pieces from model people. They wouldn't take chrome, anything that had chrome on it, but they would take the old sprues and stuff, and people would go there with trash bags full of sprues just to recycle it, And here in Chandler, Arizona, I can toss it in with the recycling, but I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they actually recycle the plastic or not. So if you're going to 3D print your own model kits, all that sprue stuff, you don't need it anymore. You do need the supports and stuff that hold everything together, but that reduces that waste by so much. And I'm thinking that is a positive aspect to that type of thing. I could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong, but I'm trying to look at that as a positive aspect. Use a blender. Yeah, there you go.
See, and then the cool thing is a lot of these programs now with 3D printing, because you have Tinkercad that you can slice like the car in half,
right?
And I kind of understand. Like, I'm not a CAD guy, so it's kind of something I'm gonna have to learn over here eventually. Yeah. But I see the hobby heading in that direction, because printers now have gotten so inexpensive.
Yes,
it's still expensive, but they're not $1,000 to get a printer, right?
Right.
It's a couple $100. You're into it. you know.
The way I look at it is, if I wanted to start model building tomorrow, if I was new to the hobby, I wanted to start building tomorrow, what I have invested in behind me is far more than the cost of a 3D printer and some materials.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
you know, type of thing. And I mean, there's been times when I've actually bought a vintage kit and got it home, started going through it and finding out it's missing the rear axle. It's missing this part, it's missing that part. I'm like, dude, if I could just scan this and make the copy of the part that I need, that would be awesome, you know, type of thing, rather than stealing it out of someplace else. Yeah, stick is. Yep.
He's not wrong.
No, you're not wrong, man. Scratch building happens to be something that I never used to do much of until recently, and I love it. I love it. I was working on my 40 Ford. Where did that get off to?
You cleaned the desk off now. Can't find it.
Oh, never mind. Okay. I don't know where it got off to, but I wanted to put a floor shifter in it. And, you know, the old trick of using a stick pin, bending it in the right curves and stuff, drilling a hole in the floor pan so you can stick that needle through there and everything. And I'm looking at that going, that's okay, but there's a little thing in the world called a shift boot. So how do we make a shift boot? Well, I got out the leather punch. You know, it's got the multi-heads on it that rotate. And made punched out concentric discs, and then stacked them on top of each other, kind of at a little bit of an angle, so it looks like it's over to one side, and then cemented it all together into one piece, drilled a hole on top of that, and then stuck the stick pin through the hole. Now we have a shift boot once we get it all painted up and sanded. So I mean, that's the kind of scratch building I love to do.
So, and I'll take it the next step, right? You know how you have not the McDonald's straws, right? That bend, not the bigger ones, but the ones for coffee that are a little bit thinner that have that flex part in it.
Yeah.
Those are the exact right size for a 1/24th car.
Oh, very cool. Those sound like they'd be perfect for like steering linkage boots and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I'm gonna have to go steal some of those.
Like I said, I use a lot of stuff that's not in the hobby. I try to steal from other things just to keep, because I'm part of the broke modeler society. I can't spend a lot of money on it.
I do know somebody that was in the club that I was part of that was bragging about how the antenna sticking up out of the top of his car. He did this race car kit. The antenna was the whisker from his cat. And I'm like, that's a whisker from your cat. He goes, yep, that's a whisker off my cat's face. I'm like, you, sir, need to be arrested. He's like, well, no, it fell out. I didn't go like take it off his face. I'm like, oh, all right, then that's fine. But yeah. Foam she's.
Yeah, there you
Silly
go.
Winks. Wow, that's a name.
That's another one. I would not have thought of that, but it works.
Great. And it's Sunday too, so I can't go investigate that.
Damn.
Well, the only time they get a hankering for Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A is on Sundays.
There you go.
Oh,
did
Charlie
you have
Mack
any?
In here?
Huh?
Charlie Mack is in here. What's going on, Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie Mack's in here. He usually shows up towards the end of the shows. I
That sounds like
it's
Charlie.
okay though.
That sounds like Charlie. Yeah, what's going on? I did a spoof video, one of my early videos. I did a spoof video, kind of poking fun at Charlie Mack way back in the day. And when I finally met him in person, he's like, "That was a really funny video. Don't ever do it again." Why not? He goes, "Because you can't do the accent." I'm like, "Oh, all right." Okay, I respect your wishes.
Nice. Did you have any other questions for me?
When do I get paid?
When do I get paid? Not.
No. Oh, we're good. Very good. No, I think pretty much covered everything I can think of off my mental list. I'm sure I have something written down here someplace that I can't find.
It's amazing how that works, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and I have nobody to blame but myself for this room. So,
Well, I'm out in the garage, right? I mean, that's the room I'm in right now. And
right.
yeah, this is a chaotic tornado in here sometimes.
I do believe I left a comment on there saying that was organized chaos.
Yeah. No, it really is. At some point I want to put a shed in my backyard so I get like 3/4 of this room in there.
Yep.
But one day.
Well, in the summertime, our garage will run 105, 110 degrees. You park the car in there when Linda would get home from work.
That's funny.
Linda would get home from work and park the car in the garage, and the next morning we go out there at 6 o'clock in the morning. He don't get mad. He probably just gets even. But that garage will still be over 100 degrees the next morning at 8 o'clock in the morning when she goes off to work. So Arizona is not conducive for people who like styrene and want to keep styrene from warping.
It's really tough to be out here in August. Like I have,
sure. The humidity up there.
What?
The humidity you get up there is probably.
We get enough rain up here. It doesn't really. I mean, it gets hot. Don't get me wrong, but like humidity is not part of it. Like it's just hot. And yeah, but I also have the jet stream that flows through my state most of that month, those 2 months.
Yeah. Well, we were up there in July, and it was just after the heat dome issue.
Oh yeah.
And we were sitting with our friends, and it's like 80 degrees out. Me and Linda are like long pants, and we're wearing our jeans and stuff because it's 80 degrees out. And our friends are like running around in tank tops and shorts and stuff. They're like, oh my God, this is the first year we've had to get an air conditioner because it was 115 degrees in Portland, and they're outside in Beaverton and stuff. And they're like, yeah, all of these trees and stuff, we're just waiting for those to just burst into flame. So I'm like, Linda and I are like, well, moving back to Portland would be great. And then they had that whole heat dome thing. I'm like, no. Nah, I think we're good. But so here's the thing. Here in Arizona, when you go buying stuff at swap meets and shows and stuff like that, a lot of times I always like to open the box to take a look inside, because sometimes somebody's had something stored in his metal shed out back, whatever. And you can get literally burned very easily on stuff because you think you got something that's good, and you find out that tire has melted its way into the hood of the car or the windshield, or something you can't reproduce easily. So decals aside, when you're buying stuff here in Arizona at swap meets and stuff, you got to be real careful. When we went to Florida, we went to Georgia for Acme. We were picking stuff up off the tables. We weren't even looking inside. I'm like, I know it's going to be fine because it ain't that hot here, type of thing. But here in Arizona, I get real picky when I'm buying kits because I'm like, nope, sorry, this has a tire bite or whatever, type of thing going on. So that's just a heads up for anybody who wishes to move to Arizona and go to our shows, and just letting you know.
Yeah, Arizona is a unique place, and the biggest reason I will never live there is rattlesnakes. I know
rattlesnakes, scorpions. Yeah. So Arizona is basically America's Australia.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Anything that can kill you is in Arizona.
Exactly. But folks are actually nice here, though, so that's cool.
Well, anyway, if unless you have any other questions for me, I'm gonna end this. I mean, we've been an hour and 20 minutes already.
Really?
Thank you for coming on. I mean, as you can see, the chat has just been blowing up.
Yeah,
so people have been excited about this interview all week.
Oh, yeah, they're talking about everything but us.
Well,
thank God this isn't live, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, thank you for coming on, and I will
You're very
talk to
welcome.
you in a couple minutes.
All right, very good. Thank you.
So that was Brian, everybody. Hour and 20 minutes of gold. Brian's got a very unique channel, and if you get a chance, go check it out if you're not subscribed to it. But I will see you guys next Saturday with Cliff Thompson, actually. And that is going to be the last interview for the year. And then I'm going to take, I think it's 2 weeks off for Christmas and New Year's. And then I'll be back after the new year. So I will see you guys next week. Bye.